Hey y'all, it's Charlene and I'm back for the second half of this build. If you saw my last build or last video, the first portion of this build, you'll know that this is the Killener. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story home that I believe I placed it in Willow Creek, I think is where this house is located in my save file. But it is on a 40 by 30 lot, a corner lot here. My first video, like I said a minute ago, is the exterior. So this video here, I'm working on the interior. I had a little bit of trouble getting this video, the interior and the exterior actually, to really kind of cut down on a lot of the build. So I apologize in advance if this is kind of choppy because, again, I'm still kind of getting used to the whole making videos and doing my builds as if somebody might be watching them. So you'll see I kind of jump around and go from one portion of the build to the next quite a bit. So I hope to get better at this with time. But again, this is something that it's going to take time to get used to. So you can see I kind of just did the basic floor plan just a second ago there. This floor plan kind of came together pretty organically. I didn't seem to have any issues with finding where to place things. Really only had trouble with a couple of bathrooms and the laundry room or utility room. That was pretty much it. Everything else kind of came together organically. So you can see here I'm working on the second floor's floor plan here. I initially thought that this house was going to be a 4-bedroom house, but I ended up putting a bedroom in the space in between the front of the house and the back of the house. There's, if you can tell, there's like a bunch of windows and there's this long narrow space, which I originally was going to have as a hallway, but I was actually able to make it into the 5th bedroom. So this house also has a really cute nursery. I said in my first video, if you watched it, that I don't often do nurseries. I tend to try and make my rooms more multi-purpose. So, you know, normally I don't just make it a nursery. I'll throw a toddler bed in there or something like that, and make it a room that can be used for more than just the infant phase. But just the way the room came together, I thought it was really cute. I liked the whole theme I had going. It's really colorful. So I ended up just leaving it as a nursery. So, and you can see just a second ago, I kind of struggled with the color scheme for some of the rooms on the second floor. As I was putting them together, I thought they kind of looked like Easter eggs at the end of the day. Like they were a lot of those light pastel colors that just made me think of an Easter egg. So tried switching it up a little bit. So here I'm just working on the little front foyer area. I try and make my builds and houses and lots look a little more realistic, a little more lived in. So you'll see throughout this build on the interior, I try and put things in a little bit more cluttered kind of fashion. I don't like it to look too cluttered. I don't like it when it completely takes over and takes away from the aesthetic. But I do like it when it looks like someone just kind of came in, dropped their backpack down, put their mail sitting on, maybe there's a desk or like a decorative table, and put their mail down and things like that. So you'll see, especially in the kitchen here, I do a lot of clutter here in the kitchen, quite a bit. So as I said in my first video, I just like things to look more realistic in my builds. I'm not as big of a fan as when a build is really cold feeling and doesn't have that lived in look. I've tried those builds before. I don't really do a good job of them. I do hope maybe as I continue on with this channel that maybe I get some more experience in those kinds of builds, but I'm just not as familiar or comfortable with building those kind of more sterile, not as lived in looked homes. So here you'll see I'm doing the layout for the kitchen, kind of just placing the upper and lower cabinets and where the sink, stove, and fridge end up. I love this cabinet set that came with the country kitchen. I just think it's so cute. I think it can go either really country kitschy looking, it can go kind of modern looking depending on its usage, especially if you use some of the nicer, more modern looking upper cabinets that we've got. And it can also kind of look more like grandma's kitchen, just kind of more homey and more just kind of aged and something that, like I said, your grandma would have. So that was kind of the look I was going for here, kind of that more lived in grandma's kitchen kind of look. So, and that's why you'll see I'll kind of clutter it up with a bunch of stuff on the counters and just lots of decorations on the wall. I'm actually really happy with the way that this kitchen turned out. Sometimes I think my kitchens can look a little like too over the top or almost too forced. But I think that this kitchen came together really organically, and I think that the blend of the wallpaper with the brick and the appliances with the cabinets and just the overall color scheme, I just think it ends up coming out really, really cute. So you'll see here I am just taking a whole bunch of things out of the clutter section, and what my kind of habit that I do is I just kind of throw everything into the kitchen or into the room I'm working on as far as clutter. So you'll see here I'm just loading up the countertops with tons of clutter with no real organization, just kind of getting them out of the gallery and onto the countertops. And then once I have everything out that I think I might use, then I go through and I actually sort everything out and put it where I want it to be on the countertops. So you'll see here I'm just going to kind of place things in the corner, in that back left corner, and kind of just work from there. So one of my favorite decorations for kitchens, especially those more like grandma kitchens or the more country kitchens, is that adorable chicken thing. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's a statue or if it's supposed to be like a basket with a chicken topper on it. I don't know. It's just so adorable. I'm a big fan of like chickens and birds and things like that. So adorable. I use it in almost every kitchen that I think it would go with its overall aesthetic in. So just adorable. So you'll see here again, I'm cluttering up that corner there with just some, I think I've got the tea set back there, got the bread case, things like that. So again, I'm not one of those people who uses the things for clutter that I don't imagine somebody actually would have. I know some builders like to clutter countertops in rooms with just about anything. I'm a little bit more realistic with my clutter. I like to put things where I feel like somebody might actually have them in real life. So here I've moved on to the office. You can see I put down the desk and then put up some draperies, and now I'm kind of working on this little reading nook area, which I think turns out really cute. I kind of jump around, and you'll see this in my probably any future builds I do. I'm going to try my best to not do this though, because I know it can be a little hard to follow. At the beginning of the video, I did say that it might be a little jumpy, and this is what I'm talking about. I kind of go from room to room, and depends on how like into the room I am. If I'm really into the decorations and how it's coming together, sometimes I will do the entire room right all at once, like I did with the kitchen. And then sometimes I just throw the basics in there. I throw the couch in there. I throw the coffee table or the desk and the chairs and thing. And then I move on to the next room. And the purpose of that is really just to make sure that the room is the correct size, that I have enough space for what I'm wanting to do with the room. So again, I needed to kind of get out of that habit now that I'm going to be filming my builds for people to watch. I really need to focus on a room, finish it, and then move on to the next room, because the way I kind of jump around with it right now, I know can be kind of hard to follow. So I apologize in advance for all the kind of jumping around that this video does from room to room. I know it can be a little hard to follow. So I tried my best to kind of edit out all the unnecessary things I have, but I know that there's still a lot of kind of jumping around. So apologize in advance for all of this mess I've got going on. I swear I am going to try and do better next time, or just get better at editing next time. So here I've moved on to the primary room. You can see I just did the basic furniture again, just the bed, the dresser, the nightstand, the mirror, and moved on to the nursery. So again, this is what I was talking about earlier, the nursery with just the baby bassinet and some decorations. I think it just turns out so cute because it's so simple. It's not like too over cluttered. I think it's just cluttered enough. I can actually picture somebody like myself having a baby nursery set up like this. I just think it looks really adorable. So you'll see here I placed down some of those bookshelves and a chair from the Dream Home Decorator. I love that wood stain color that we get with that Dream Home Decorator furniture. I just think it's a really nice like medium wood tone. I think it looks really good. Here I use a trick where I put two of the dressers from the Dream Home Decorator together, and then use the trick where I place an ottoman and raise it up so it looks like a changing table. So I saw that trick a few years back. I don't remember if it was on somebody's channel or if it was just somebody that I knew who played the game who told me about it, but I just thought it was a really cute trick. And the Dream Home Decorator dressers, when you do double them back like that, they make a perfect size to be able to hold that ottoman and completely cover it. So here I'm just kind of cluttering everything up in this nursery. I just like how it's colorful. I like how everything that I place, I try and not make it all one particular color scheme. I do more like rainbow themed, where everything's a different color, if it's possible that it can be in a different color, that is. So, or it's multicolored. So, and I also love these curtains. I had never used these curtains or draperies before. And in this room, I just think it looks really, really cute with the whole color scheme of rainbow I've got going on. So, just finish out the room with some artwork and that little cloud lamp, which I think is just adorable in that room. And that's pretty much it for the nursery. I pretty much finished it. So like I was saying, if I get into a room, like I will just finish it all the way. But if I'm not really feeling it, or I get kind of that, like, I forget what movie it's from, but that the squirrel, if I get just distracted by something else that I think catches my eye, I'll kind of move on. And that's actually what I do with this room here, which its intention is to be the guest bedroom. I imagine people having their guests stay in here, so I keep the room very nondescript, but I do come back to that later in the video. And here is that room I was talking about earlier, where I didn't plan on having a bedroom here. It's kind of the second floor of the hallway on the first floor that connects the front of the house with the back of the house, and I just threw a bedroom in here, and it actually kind of works out. I think the color scheme is really cute, the white and the grays and the teal color tones that they have going on. I just imagine a teenager living in here. It just turns out to be kind of a really cute kind of little hangout area. I put like a comfy chair and just like an ottoman for them to rest their feet on, and just kind of basic teenage clutter. Put some magazines on their desk, and tons of posters on their walls. So overall, I think this room turned out really cute. I think it turned out pretty realistic. I can actually imagine myself having a bedroom that looked kind of like this when I was a teenager. So loved teal when I was a teenager. So who am I kidding? I still love teal. I think it's such a pretty color, and I love this wallpaper. I think it's so pretty in this color scheme with the white and the light gray silvery overlay. I think it's so pretty, and I think it looked really good combined with the teal that I have going on here. I think it was a perfect combination. So anyway, you can see here I am cluttering up that dresser. I think I come back to it here. Yeah, here we go. I go back and I do that later. But yeah, again, I just imagined that this teenage girl that lived here, you know, she's got some style, she's got some stuff on her walls, but it's not too cluttered, because she does have friends over that hang out in this room, and they chit chat and gossip about people at school and kids they like at school and stuff. So it's not super messy. Maybe a little bit of laundry just kind of strewn about that they haven't gotten to putting in their basket yet, but overall, I tried not to make it too messy and too lived in looking. So and here you can see I move on to the other teen room. I did kind of two teenager rooms, and I shouldn't even say teenager rooms, just more rooms with the twin beds in them that I would personally imagine would have a teenager living in them. So I decorated them as if a teenager was living in them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one has to live in there. So this room, I went into it without anything specific in mind as I started to decorate it, and it kind of transformed into this like weird combination of someone who likes cats and also someone who likes to go skateboarding and is very active and is into sports and likes to play music. So this person in this room has a lot of interests. So I just was kind of all over the place with this room. As you can tell, it's kind of an odd layout. So, and it's one of those rooms that I kind of didn't get into very much. So I came back and finished it later. So you can see here we have moved on to the room above the den in the back of the house. And it turns into a kids' playroom. So I just think this turns out so cute. When I was a kid, I would have loved a room like this. You know, just dedicated and away from the adults and everything like that, where you can just kind of do your own thing and you don't have to worry about it being a mess, because no one cares, because it's a bunch of kids. So, and you can also see it's kind of hard to see with the way the walls are right now, but there's also the utility room on the second floor here. You can see the washer and dryer and the washout basin. I actually end up moving that room down to the first floor. So this ends up being a little bit bigger of a little kids playroom / game area. And I add a few more little activities and decorations here. I don't remember if I do that at this point in the video or if I come back and do that later. I guess we'll see here. I can't quite remember how that is, but this does end up being just strictly a floor for the kids' play area, or this room ends up being strictly an area for the kids' play area. It just made more sense to me to have the laundry room not be in this same vicinity as the kids' play area. So I felt like in real life that would not be the case. So anyway, so you can see here, this is where I'm doing it. You can see I am tearing down that wall and adding just a couple more decorations here. Rearranging a few things, adding a little bit more wall decorations, and some more, it looks like some valances or some draperies here. Just kind of overall just made it a little more simpler here. So back down to the first floor. You can see I've added a half bath right there on the back half of this little living area or den, just for the first floor guests to use. And here I'm just cluttering up this little den. And I think it turns out really cozy. I think it's adorable. I think the color scheme is really cute. I would love to have a den or a back living room like this. It looks so comfy. So here I've moved on to the sunroom / greenhouse, whatever you'd prefer to use it for. I kind of use it for like a combo of both. I've got some plants and some greenery in here, but I've also got a couple of like outdoor chairs for you to sit in and watch some people that are hanging out in the pool. So I think that room turns out really cute. So here I am working on the hallway. This is the area, if you watched my first video, where it connects the front of the house with the back of the house, and you can either go out through one door to one side of the backyard or out through the other door to the other side of the backyard. So this is kind of just like a general dumping area for people to put their stuff. So here I came back to the front foyer area and just made a couple of changes. I thought it looked a little too plain, not quite lived in enough. So I went and added a couple of side tables, some decorations, again, just to make it look a little more realistic. And I also changed the way the stairs fell. They were just going straight down, and I kind of had them come down and go to the, I guess, curve to the right a little bit like that. So I thought that looked really nice. So here you can see, I was talking earlier, I like how my places look more realistic and lived in. This is where I imagine the sim comes in, they drop their mail off after they checked their mailbox, and you know, just their extra bills and stuff they don't feel like dealing with right now. So, so I just think this front foyer turned out really, really cute, because again, I actually imagine that as a very realistic foyer area. I can imagine that being in my house. So here it looks like I've come back down to the living room area, like kind of the more formal living area, because the back of the house has like more of that informal den area. This is where I would imagine they would entertain their friends that came over for dinner, or just some drinks or whatever. This is where I would imagine they would entertain them, as opposed to just like the back of the house den area being more informal for family and stuff like that to hang out. So I think this room turned out pretty cute. Again, I like to clutter it up. I am a big fan of cluttering things up. I grew up in a house that had a lot of clutter and things that just, things were everywhere, you know, and I loved it. You know, it always seemed so cozy and inviting, and people always said they loved coming over to our house as kids. So it obviously felt inviting to everyone, not just me. So I just think when it looks more lived in, it just looks more inviting and not as sterile looking. So I cluttered this room up quite a bit with some decorations and some wall art and things like that. So but yeah, I think that those chairs, the ones that I have flanking that fireplace, I don't remember which expansion pack those came with, or kit or game pack or whichever, but I absolutely love those chairs. If I have ever have any reason to use those chairs, I use them. I think they're so cute, and they go with everything. And they can be dressed up or dressed down. They can be used in rooms that are kind of more like country, kitschy, or they can be used in like a more formal setting. It just all depends on like what the other decorations are you have in the room. So I just think that they're so cute. If you download more than one of my builds at any point, you will see I love those chairs. I just think that they're adorable. So, and they also kind of have that like burlap sack look to them. They just look so cute. And I have moved on here to the dining room area, just adding a few finishing touches for some accessories on the wall. I think I add a couple more things. Wait, no, I already added the plants, looks like, so don't need to add the plants again. I'm fixing some clipping with an exterior plant on the inside wall there. I try not to clutter up if possible. Sometimes I go a little clutter crazy in some houses, but I try not to over clutter dining rooms because sometimes the Sims get really finicky when it comes to getting to the table and sitting down at it. Sometimes they complain they can't get there, so I just try and leave enough room around a dining room table so that they never have any issues getting to it and sitting down at it. So here in the office, you see I added this little like comfy, I guess like a shade lounger kind of thing to that bay window area. I just imagine like whichever spouse is the one that's working from home that day, maybe the other spouse comes home after a long day at work, comes in here, sits on that chaise lounger and just kind of talks to the spouse about their day. For the end of this video, I have, for my screenshots and my screen grabs, I have Mortimer and Bella Goth in this house. And, if that was the case, I would imagine just Mortimer working on the computer, Bella coming in, sitting down in that little shade lounger, and them just kind of chatting about their day. So, again, I think that you'll see as I continue to do more of these videos and you get to see more of my builds, I tend to put a lot of personality into my Sims. I truly do imagine very specific Sims with very specific personality traits living in these builds, and it just helps me kind of get that creative, that helps me really imagine the people that would be living here. So here I am decorating the little sunroom that is off the formal living room. And here I'm just making it kind of a combination of like a greenhouse / artist's studio. I couldn't really pick which one I wanted it to be more, so I just made a combination of the two. And I use a few pieces of greenery from the new Bloomin' Rooms kit, which are adorable. I love putting plants all over houses because they're good clutter without making things look too cluttered, and they also just bring such a nice color to rooms. So I love greenery, love it so much. So some of these pieces from Bloomin' Rooms is really, really adorable, and I love them. So here I'm just cluttering up this little greenhouse shelf piece that I don't remember which pack that came in necessarily, but I do love to use it in greenhouses and sunrooms to put some clutter and some pottery and pieces of greenery on. So I will say my favorite piece from the Bloomin' Rooms is that hanging plant I am trying to place right now. I love that. I love those leaves. I love the shapes. I love the flowiness of it. I love the overflowing look of it, and I just love the color green that those leaves are. So here you can see I've come back to that second floor guest room that I did not really want to complete earlier, and you can see I'm kind of having some trouble placing things on the wall. I didn't really know what to put. When I can't picture a specific Sim personality type living in it, I sometimes have some trouble. So with it being a guest room, I had some trouble just trying to picture who would be here and staying here. And you'll see I switch out some of the artwork on the wall for something else. I think I actually cut out a few. I had multiple different attempts on what I was going to put on the wall here. I think I ended up actually just cutting most of that out. So I'm just trying to clutter the room up here with just some more generic items. Some basic plants, some simple shoe racks, things that you would see in a guest bedroom if you were to stay at someone's house. So, and here I'm back in that other twin bedroom, the teenager's room, whichever. And I just do quite a little bit of cluttering and put some artwork on the wall. And again, this was the one where I had a lot going on. Like, I wasn't sure if they were more into sports or music or what, or cats, because you'll see I put like a cat statue here, and his or her wallpaper and bedding is cats. It's like, this teenager needs to make up their mind as to what their passion is, because they've got a lot going on. So and here you'll see I kind of try and place a chair here. I'm not really sure. Again, I love those chairs. I think I end up actually taking that chair out and replacing it with something entirely different altogether. But again, like I said, I love that chair. So here I'm just cluttering up some more of the room, making it look a little more realistic looking. And you'll also see that this room is the room that has access to the second floor terrace. From the left-hand side of the house, if you're looking at the outside of the house. That I actually include in the first video. So if you saw my first video, you saw me decorate the outside of that terrace area. So I don't include it on this video because it is included on that first video. So feel free to check it out if you want to see how I decorate the outside of that little terrace area, which I would have absolutely loved when I was a teenager. So there's a part of me that's a little envious of this teenager's room, because I think that's awesome. I would have loved to just like hang out with my friends on that terrace all day long. I would have hardly spent any time in my actual room. So again, just placing some plants and pottery and some decals on the wall. We don't really have a whole lot of teen specific artwork. It's all posters. So it just ends up being a room full of a bunch of posters. So here I switch out the chair with the bookcase. I changed my mind. I didn't want them to have a bookcase. So just put that chair there next to the guitar and just put some artwork in its place. So here I am working on that upstairs hall area. This one I try and make it pretty simple. I just put a little chair maybe that you're gonna use to sit in to put your shoes on, or maybe just to look at what's on the shelves in the bookshelf. I lean a couple of canvases up against the wall. Some generic artwork on the wall. Nothing specific. That one from Cats and Dogs I think is adorable. I love that one. And I just love this artwork too. Not this one, the one that I placed just a second ago. I think that's just such a cute piece of artwork as well. So I tried not to go too overboard with the artwork. I think I actually take some of this artwork down. I think I changed my mind because I think it looks like a little too much. If we don't see it here in this video, I'm pretty sure I did that before I uploaded it to the gallery. So here you can see I'm placing those canvases. Not really a whole lot else I do to that little hallway area. Try and keep it simple, because again, it's a pass-through room that you use to get to other rooms in the house. So I didn't want it to be too cluttered. So and my last but not least, I'm working on this little primary master area. So you'll also see I didn't include in this video the bathrooms or the laundry room or utility room. This video actually ran over an hour and a half long, and I had to cut so much out. So if you want me to include the bathrooms next time, please, in the utility room, please drop some kind of feedback or comments so I can make some changes for my next videos, because I'm not going to get any better without your all's feedback and help. I would really appreciate it a lot. So here at the master bedroom, I just clutter up this little dresser here. I think I also maybe clutter up the nightstands a little bit, and I add a little bit of artwork on the wall. And then there's also this little nook in the corner of the bedroom that I'm never really sure what to do with when I do that. Like in the bedroom, like what do you put there? This house already has an office. It already has a little area, like a little den area, a TV area, two of them actually. So it's like, what else do I do with it? So I think I ended up just putting like a little bookcase there with a chair or something to read in. So down here on the first floor, I just actually make a couple of changes to the little foyer area. just the way it's laid out. What I'm actually doing is making room for that grandfather clock, which I just adore that grandfather clock. I think it's so cute. So I think this is pretty much it. I'm just doing a couple little touches here, and then I go back up to the bedroom and add that little piece of artwork, or a couple pieces of artwork, and add that little reading nook area, which I think turns out super cute. I keep it pretty simple. Just have the little bookcase and just my little famous chair that you all know I love. Just a rug and just a reading light, and that is pretty much it. Thank you all so much for joining me for this video, and I hope you join me for future videos. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Goodbye.